What's up everyone, I'm Calamontoast, and in today's video I'm going to be showcasing some battles running two Pokemon that do learn the newly buffed Quick Attack here in Season 12 of Go Battle League, and they are Shadow Staraptor and Victini. Now previously Quick Attack was a fairly mediocre fast move, and because of the normal typing you typically wouldn't see it used very often as it doesn't deal super effective damage to any typing at all. But now because of the insane energy generation, it's actually a Powder Snow or Vine Whip clone, so it does generate a lot of energy, meaning Pokemon get to their charge moves a lot faster, and that is extremely deadly when combined with some of the best charge moves in the game in the form of V-Create, Close Combat, Brave Bird, and even Focus Blast. For anyone wondering why I'm running Focus Blast, it's not because I chose to, it's because I have 0 charge TMs, but you will see Focus Blast comes in absolute clutch in a couple games here, so I was very happy to be running it. Now in the lead I'm going to be running Buzzwole, as I did recently gain access to this Pokemon after the third and final day of the Global Go Fest event, and this Pokemon is a very fun Pokemon to use. Of course extremely weak to flying types, and you can see a massive hole in the team in the form of Altaria, as Altaria beats Buzzwole, it beats the Victini as well, and Shadow Staraptor also struggles unless we're somehow able to land the Brave Bird, so I will be switching up the team partway through into Shadow Machamp in the lead just to threaten with those rock slides. But with that being said, let's get into the question of the day. What's the most underrated Pokemon to have received a buff with the Season 12 move update? Let me know in the comment section below, and with that being said, let's get into the battles now. Alright, so going into the first battle here, we lead into a Drifblim, an absolutely awful lead for us. So I switch into the Staraptor, and unfortunately because we're running Quick Attack, we no longer deal any fast move damage up against ghost types, and we do Shield and Icy Wind. We're going for a very risky close combat bait up against the ghost flying type, and we get a shield from our opponent. They also don't throw straight away. Are they going to shield twice here in this matchup? No, and we boom the Drifblim out of the sky. Unfortunately they come in with a Hypno and they're able to completely confusion farm me down. I come in with the Victini. We do resist the confusions, but I have to respect a Shadow Ball, as that would have done so much damage. I'm going to go for the back-to-back V-Creates here. We do have 80 energy loaded. First one gets a shield, the second one is going to do a lot of damage up against this Hypno. And now I'm going to switch out into Buzzwole. My opponent switches into a Venusaur here. I'm going to go for a lunge before they can throw any charge moves, and it does a decent amount of damage as well, as it is neutral because of the grass poison typing. They get to a Sludge Bomb, that does a lot of damage, and at this point I don't want to take out the Venusaur. I actually just want to leave it in range for me to Quick Attack, farm them down, and come out with a move loaded to throw into Hypno. And we're barely able to get to a V-Create here. It's a CMP tie with the Hypno, and V-Create is going to be able to take out the Hypno, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to that opponent there. Into the next game, we lead into a Drapion, so I think this is probably slightly favourable for me, but they're running Ice Fang, so that does do a lot more fast move pressure than the Poison Sting would do. We go for a Power Punch bait. Something to note on this Buzzwole is typically you see people run Super Power, but I'm running Power Punch for that reason, because most people will shield, and I'm able to get a shield and also ramp up my own attack, and that is really handy because I farm them down, go for a lunge up against the Swampert, and unfortunately just barely not able to get to a second lunge here before the Swampert Mud Shots farm me down. I'm going to shield up this Hydro Cannon, go for a CMP tie with the next Hydro Cannon, but we get the stutter lag, and that's super annoying because Hydro Cannon does a lot of damage, but because we debuff their attack, it doesn't KO. They come in with Trevenant, trying to catch a close combat. I go for the Brave Bird, boom, we take out the Trevenant. I get to a close combat, and even with that stutter lag, I'm going to be able to take out the Swampert and take that game. So GG's to that opponent there. Into the next game, another horrible lead. We lead into Granbull, so I'm going to switch into the Victini. Yes, this is my hard counter to a Charmer, but the thing is with Victini, we can pretty much get a shield in most scenarios, so I'm going to go for the V-Create here. We get a shield up against this Crobat. I'm going to go for another V-Create here, and this unfortunately isn't enough to flip the switch advantage, but we do get a shield advantage, and with a shield advantage, you guys know that Shadow Staraptor is absolutely deadly in that closing position. We're going to shield this up. I know it's just a Poison Fang, but they do have a Charmer. My team is extremely weak to Charm now, so I do need to preserve some health. I'm going for a lunge up against the Gramble. We get the final shield, which is perfect, and even more perfect is that they come in with a Galarian Stunfisk. They're dealing absolutely zero fast move pressure here with the mud shots. I'm going to farm to 100 energy, go for a close combat on the CMP tie with the second rock slide. Close combat takes out the Galarian Stunfisk, and we have a Brave Bird loaded for the Gramble. Gramble gets taken out by the Brave Bird, and we're able to take that game. Now going into the next match here, we lead into an Altaria. So Altaria is a massive core breaker for this team because Buzzwole and Victini both absolutely suck against it, so I just have to stay in, go for a lunge, and now I switch into Victini, but my opponent has a Swampert. Can I get to the Focus Blast in time? No, I'm not able to, and unfortunately I have to shield in this already very negative matchup. I'm going for the V-Create here, and my opponent lets it go through. That does so much damage. I'm able to get to another one. We should get a shield back from this Swampert. And my opponent actually allows me to get to a third one. No, they don't. They win CMP here. So unfortunately, Victini is a slightly bulkier than the Swampert, so we do lose CMP. They come in with the Altaria, and at this point, there's not a lot I can do. I just have to let the Sky Attack go through. Hopefully, I can somehow sweep with the Staraptor here. But first, I need to actually take out this Altaria, and it doesn't look like I'm going to be able to do that with just fast moves. So I do throw the close combat here in the end. This will take out the Altaria, but they've got an Azumarill in the back and they've got a shield, so there's just nothing I can do here. So unfortunately, Altaria, massive core breaker to this team, and it is a fairly common Pokemon in the Great League, so yeah, not the best team building from my part. But into the next game, we lead into a Sylveon. Once again, I'm switching into my hard counter here, and they come in with a Mud Slap Golem. I've never seen this in GBL, so you can see the teams are still very wacky here in the low ranks. We're going for a V-Create. We did get one shield. This is resisted, but it does do a lot of damage, but unfortunately we do go down here. We come in with Machamp, and I'm able to counter farm them down before they throw a move. They come back in with Sylveon. I just want to get off this Rock Slide, and this goes unshielded, so now I can switch into Staraptor, farm them down, and they have a Venusaur in the back, and at this point it's game over. We've got 2 shields remaining. I'm easily going to be able to get to the back-to-back Brave Birds. The first one will get a shield from this Venusaur, and the second one is going to be easily enough to take out the Venusaur. We get the shield there and the second one, and I don't even have to hit any bubbles at this point. This will easily take them out, and boom, we take that game. So GG's to that opponent there. Now into the next game here, we lead into a Galvantula. Pretty tricky lead here, but they're running Fury Cutter and they switch into a Bastion to counter the Victini, but no one's going to be expecting a Focus Blast from Victini, and boom, we one-shot the Bastion there, and that is perfect. They come in with a Medicham. We can resist everything this Medicham throws. Parrot Punch, not enough to take me out, sorry, and we go for a V-Create. Unfortunately, we don't quite have enough energy for the back-to-back, and we do lower our defense, so that counter does take me out. Now I'm going to come in with Buzzwole here, and I'm going to look to one shield and then go for a Power Punch. Hopefully I can take them out before they get to the next charge move. They go for another Power Punch here. This is not looking good. They're going to be able to get to one more charge move, and at this point I do have to shield this up. They go for an Ice Punch, so they're not even running Psychic, so bit of a tricky spot here. This Galvantula comes in. They no-shield a lunge, and we're boosted, so it does so much damage. My opponent decides not to bother throwing a charge move, as they realise it was game over, and I'm able to take that game. So I do go 4-1 in that first set there. I think battles were slightly out of order there, but into the next game here, we lead into a Stunfisk, I think it was. They switch into a Trevenant. Now, typically, Staraptor is an absolutely brilliant counter to Trevenant, but like I said earlier, we're running Quick Attack, so these fast moves are resisted, meaning that this matchup actually isn't anywhere near as good as it used to be. They go for a seed bomb here. I'm going to farm up to 100 energy, nearly. No, that's 99 energy. Go for the Brave Bird. They no shield it. It takes them out. I'm able to get to a close combat up against the Galarian Stunfisk, and this is no shielded. It does so much damage, but unfortunately they're just barely able to mudshot farm me down before I'm able to take them out. I come in with the Buzzwole, not really sure what they've got in the back, so I decide to shield the rock slide, and it's a Pelipper, so another massive core breaker to the team as Pelipper. Very dominant up against Victini and the Buzzwole, so it doesn't look like I'm going to be able to win this game now. We should just barely survive a Weather Ball. We'll go for the V-Create. I really need for them to let this go through, but they shield it up. They're smart, and at this point there's nothing I can do. I do win CMP up against this Pelipper, go for a lunge, but it's resisted. It's nowhere near enough damage to take them out, and this Weather Ball will be taking me out, and they take that game. So after that match, I realised there's quite a few things that do break this core, so I switch up and go for a Machamp in the lead. That way I do at least have some coverage moves that can deal super effective damage up against the flying types, and at this point I'm going for the rock side here. Not 100% sure if the cross chop takes them out, but they do shield up, and at this point I'm just happy to let Machamp go down. And I'm thinking that they're probably in range for me to one shield farm down with the Staraptor and come out with so much energy because of the quick attack energy gains here. And I was right, I'm just barely able to farm them down. They come in with a Galarian Stunfisk. This is perfect. Going for the close combat. We've seen how much damage it does already. Boom, it nearly takes them out, and at this point I will be able to quick attack farm down this Stunfisk after I shield that move. And my opponent has a Venusaur in the back. We go for the first Brave Bird here. We're easily going to get to a second Brave Bird. We get the shield here, and the second one is going to just deal so much damage. It's ridiculous. Brave Bird takes out the Venusaur, and I'm able to take that game there, and I didn't even need to use the Victini. Into the next game, we lead into an Alola Ninetales, so we're getting a lot of bad leads with this team. But that's okay. Victini comes in and they don't have a response, so they come in with Medicham. So things are now looking pretty good. They go straight for an Ice Punch. That's resisted. Everything Medicham throws is resisted. So Victini is a very good response here. But my opponent actually came in with the Medicham to this matchup. So we go for one V-Create, two V-Creates. We're able to get to a third one before the Medicham throws their energy. It lands and we get a simultaneous KO. So we got both shields from the Medicham and we took them out as well. I'm going to come in with Machamp. Unfortunately, they come in with the Ninetales, but actually this is exactly what I wanted, as the cross chop will be enough to chip them massively. They're going to obviously throw a charge move here, but I should be able to farm down this Ninetales very easily. But they have a Galarian Stunfisk in the back, and at this point, you guys already know what's going to happen. I'm going to farm up to the back-to-back close combats, shield this Rock Slide, and at this point, close combat number one is going to be taking out the Stunfisk. Boom, we take him out, and actually, I didn't quite have the back-to-back, but one more quick attack. Get to the second one, we take out the Ninetales, and I'm able to take that game. Into the next game, we lead Machamp into Stunfisk, so a very good lead for us here. They switch into a Azumarill, and I don't have a response here. So I'm going to go for a Rock Slide here just before they get to a Play Rough, and then switch into the Victini, hoping that they don't farm up any extra energy, and they don't. They go straight for the Play Rough, so I can now resist that. These bubbles don't do too much damage, so it's not an awful matchup for us. Because of that Rock Slide chip damage, we get a shield, and I CMP tie on the next charge move with this Azumarill. Do they want to shield again? No, and we do maintain switch advantage, and we have a shield advantage, which is absolutely perfect. I'm going to come in with the Machamp here, and I'm able to over farm. Actually, I didn't want them to catch. I'm gonna no shield this, a bit risky. I don't know what's in the back. My opponent is staying in with the Stunfisk, so maybe they've got something else weak to the fighting typing. Nope, it's a not a Venusaur, a Victory Bell. Hopefully we get a shield here, and we're able to, and now at this point we're easily gonna be able to take out this Victory Bell with the Brave Bird here. Probably could have just gone for a close combat and take him out, but I go for the Brave Bird. Boom, we take out the Victory Bell, and we take that game. So GG's to that opponent. Now into the final battle of this video, we lead into a Nidoqueen, a bit of a tricky lead here. Nidoqueen is actually super strong because of this update, as now the wall rain is certainly a lot worse, and it just means that Nidoqueen is better because one of its worst counters is a lot less frequent in the meta. But I switch into the Victini here. I'm able to get to the back-to-back V-creates and we deal a ton of damage, and I am just going to come in here with the Staraptor. My opponent comes in with Scrafty. At this point I'm going to no shield this and then switch into the Machamp here. My opponent will get to another Power Punch here, but I'm going to shield this and then fully counter farm down this opponent. We are pretty low, so I'm just going to go straight for a cross chop into whatever comes in. It's actually an Umbreon, so my opponent is running the Nidoqueen double dark team, which is a very strong team. My opponent doesn't switch out or anything, so I go straight for another cross chop and we do a decent amount of damage. They do throw their charge move, and at this point I'm going to let the Machamp go down, put it all onto the Staraptor here, and now we're in a very tricky situation here. They might switch, they might not. I have to be very careful. I don't throw straight away. I go for the back-to-back close combats, and this will take out the Umbreon. And we're able to take out the Nidoqueen there and take that game. So a very tricky end game situation, but I didn't attack straight away just in case the Nidoqueen came back in, and I'm able to take that game. So that's going to be it for today's video. If you did enjoy it, make sure you leave a like, leave a comment letting me know. As well, don't forget to respond to the question of the day if you haven't done so already. And if you're not subscribed yet and you want to see more content like this in the future, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and as well, turn on post notifications so that way you're notified whenever I upload a new video. So with that being said, let's get into the shoutouts from my previous video. So firstly, we've got Derpstars, who says 1000% Klefki. That thing would be absolutely busted, and I have a lucky one that I want to build. And yep, Klefki, if you guys don't know, is a regional exclusive, and it does have the same typing as Marwar, but a slightly different moveset, so it would be very interesting for sure. Next, we've got Kieran, who says Tapu Koko would be interesting to spam Brave Bird, and they also point out a spelling mistake in my graphic, so thanks for that. And finally, we've got Montmito, who wants Whimsicott and Togekiss to learn Fairy Wind. I think Togekiss especially would be very interesting in the Master League with Fairy Wind, as it reaches the flamethrowers at an extremely fast pace. And also Whimsicott does have that unique grass subtyping, although probably hinders it up against the poison types, which would then deal double super effective damage. I also want to give a shout out to Tuo Butters and Toshi for bringing the Quick Attack Shadow Staraptor and Victini to my attention, so thank you to both of you guys. But with that being said, thank you all so much for watching today's video, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.